this ain't that church.
Come on. All right, come on now, talk about it. No.
It's fourth Sunday, that don't mean nothing. God is stepping in the building on fourth Sunday. Because that's when you think He's not. So our expectation has to always be of Him. I don't teach a personality, I teach anointing. The anointing can come to a 5-year-old. The anointing can come to a 14-year-old. I was excited because I ain't have to preach. I said, I came to hear the man of God. Y'all ain't saying that. I said, Chris, let's go. I ain't got to be in here, baby. I came to hear. You got to understand the preacher need a word too. You don't understand why worship is so important to me. That's the only part of the service I enjoy every other part I'm working. So I can't let you play with it because I need it.
Lord have mercy.
So take your chill mode off. Take it off. Because I can't even let him come up. Take that stuff off. Be chill. They worked hard yesterday.
Wonderful.
They put together something excellent yesterday.
Yes, God.
They put their heart and soul in it to feed our children. That's priceless.
Oh, God, thank you.
And so we came today as a climax to the matter. To corporately come together and lift Him up. To corporately come together and worship in the midst of our children, to include them in the service. They looking at me like, really, I got to stand up? Yeah, you may not like it today, but baby, there's going to come a day that you're going to enter His courts. Oh yeah, there's going to come a day you're going to say, I thank God. Because see, when I was a kid, guess what? I danced with the best of them. I praised with the best of them. I wanted to be in grown folk service because I wanted to know God in a better way. And I'm telling you, y'all know the world in a real way. I need you to know God in a real way too. And so we do things like this so that you can know Him in a better way. That somebody can talk on your level or in a way that is applicable to you, that you can understand.
Come on.
Because the Bible ought to be taught to us just as simple that even a child can understand it. That's why I say if you can understand what I'm saying, I may clap your hands. We clap them in school. Okay, I've been in the school district and they know. Do that? I know young people know that. A round of applause. Don't give your teacher one, give God.
Oh my God.
I'll meet you and look at it. He looking like, hey, I know that kind of carried on. Yeah, he's looking because he's watching. He said, I want to see what worship looks like. I put my hands up, he put his hands up. You don't realize that one day this is possible.
Yes, it will. Amen. My God.
So we came to give God glory. We came to pull on God. I came with an expectation that God would speak to us.
Yes, God. Yes, God.
We're at the end of July.
Yes, Lord.
A month of completion, a month of finish, a month of final. I came to hear God speak to us today. Anybody came to hear God? Anybody need a word from God? Anybody need God to make a way out of no way? I'm talking about young people too. Y'all got school clothes on the altar, huh? Y'all got tennis shoes on the altar. Lord, give my mama money so I can have them. Lord, bless her so I can get my clothes. Lord, oh, okay, y'all want to act like you don't, but y'all do. Y'all believe in God. Oh my God, for cars. Y'all believe in God for licenses. Honey, you better know that I love God, so you better talk to Him so He can talk to me. Y'all ain't saying that now. But He knows how to hear the cries of even young people. God will hear your prayers, and I want you to know that. Come on. Collectively, as a corporate body, young and old, if you love God, come on, clap, 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 clap. Come on, if you love God, clap, 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 clap. If you love God, clap, 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 clap. Come on, if you love God, celebrate Him, clap, clap, clap. Come on, like your favorite football team, celebrate Him. Like your favorite, come on, basketball team, celebrate Him. Like your favorite artist just hit the platform, celebrate Him. He's worthy. He woke you up this morning. He put food on your table. He gave you the activity of your limbs. You healthy and whole and in your right mind. Celebrate Him. Now keep clapping as your youth pastor comes this morning to deliver the word of God. Clap your hands for thee, Pastor K.C. Finley.
Come on, y'all can do better than that. Come on, let's continue to celebrate God. Come on, keep clapping, keep clapping. Come on, I can't hear anybody out there. I said, keep clapping. Come on, we celebrate the great God. Come on, does anybody know that we serve a great God? Does anybody still believe that we serve a great God? Come on, put your hands together and bless the name of the Lord. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Can you do something? Can you do something for me? Can you say, where there's smoke, there's fire? Come on, say it again. Say, where there's smoke, there's fire. Come on, one more time. Say, where there's smoke, there's fire. Now I need you to look the devil right in his eyes and say, you don't want no smoke. I came to talk to the young people today. Come on, tell them you don't want no smoke. Come on, tell them you don't want no smoke. Let's go, man.
Oh my God.
Come on, where my young people at? Yeah, you don't want no smoke. Yeah. Give me a little bit more volume on the music. They brought me out of retirement for you Sunday. Yeah. Yeah, I need just a little bit more volume. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Yeah, God first, family next. One love, they spelling Christmas with an X. But humbug, my kinfolk known to rep they sex. And where they come from, they're known for acting stupid in these streets. I mean dumb, but I ain't talking candy though. Holiday cameos. I was on the ground before you boys was just a grabbing, bro. Lord told me change my stance to know what I was standing for. Told me time to be a man for these kids. I'm paid man and bro, y'all ain't even catch it. You missed the whole revelation from a boy to a man. That's what I call elevations. Millions didn't make it. I'm so glad I did. I was headed for Earth's basement until I had a kid. It changed my whole lifestyle. Mentality was quite wild. I ran from the light like vampires. I'm a night owl, lamb like a light pole. Stand tall, be bold, it's war time. Be bold, no days off. We own, every day's a holiday. It's a present, so I can't make it without your grace. I'm in your presence, I see your face in all your ways. I promise you I'll lean out. Devils occupy the space, the word will knock them clean out. That's the way you gotta live, turn negatives to positives. The Lord has sent the word to do the work you will accomplish it. He gon' hear this talking, bro. You gon' miss the mark for sure. You clean up like copy go. Just to let your partners know his grace, it never fails. My mercy is forgiven, cause you ain't gotta go to jail to live your life in prison. Shackles can't be broken, chains can't be loose by the power of the blood. Cause Jesus got the juice, yeah, that's the real truth. Contrary is a lie. I was trying to be cool and let's leave it all out, but the devil kept provoking me. Strongholds choking me. I submit to God, resist the devil, and I did it openly. Now I know he noticed me. Far from where I used to be, and I ain't even close to perfect, but my God is using me. Light of this world, and I'm gonna shine like some jewelry. If God is the truth, I guess that makes the devil foolery. The weapon may be formed, but still ain't nothing you can do to me. Coming around like a roaring lion, just pursuing me. Think you're gonna scare me with your tactics, but soon you will see the word I got to me is like a mattress. And I rest in peace, I'm dead to my flesh, I'm dead to your concept, I'm taken to the life, I'm singing no contest. Every knee shall bow, every tongue confess that Jesus is Lord. So let his word be your compass. Yeah. Every knee shall bow, every tongue confess that Jesus is Lord. So let his word be your compass. Yeah. They don't want no smoke. Come on, this last track I'm doing, and I'm gonna get right into the word.
All right.
Is I'm working on a project.
All right.
I'm working on a project entitled I Am Joseph. And Joseph goes through a part where he has to be into a pit, where he's thrown into a pit by his brothers. But the Bible said that Judah came back and pulled him out. And so I realized that Judah means praise. And so the name of this song is me writing from the place of the pit. To realize I still got my praise. Come on, y'all don't understand what the praise will bring you out. You don't understand that your praise is a weapon, and as long as you still got your praise, you can come. I'm preaching all right. I said, as long as you still got your praise, you can come out. As long as you still got your praise, God will move. As long as you still got your praise, you can get your breakthrough. As long okay. Give me the trail. They brought me out of retirement. Yeah. Dark nights turn into darker days. My price paid for some hardest ways. I can't be saved, but got led astray. Why is it if you pray, you become a prey? They drop me in this place to become a slave. Do dirt upon my name, hoping I will stay. But here I am today, because what he gave and I obeyed. Though it's late, baby, I still got my praise. Hands up, lifted, I am still gifted. I gotta keep my head high. Praise will give me, I bless the Lord at all times. Even in the darker nights, I'm still feel the sky, but I know that the sun will shine. I know that the sun will shine. Clouds still fill the sky, even in the darker night. Bless the Lord at all times. Praise will give me, I gotta keep my head high. Hands still lifted, I am still gifted. My God, I still got my praise. Bless the Lord at all times. Bless the Lord at all times. Bless the Lord at all times. Yeah. I still got my praise. Bless the Lord at all times. Bless the Lord at all times. I never did you nothing. I came up for nothing. My sins have been covered by the blood. It's still working out. Only then I love him. You mad cause he loved me. My past is that bad that you mad that he ain't judge me, huh? You heard what I declared. You see it coming, huh? You know your time is up. You feel it running out. You try to shut me up, but I keep coming out without my mouth screaming like somebody said my bones are foul. I still got my praise. Bless the Lord at all times. Bless the Lord at all times. Bless the Lord at all times. Yeah. I still got my praise. Bless the Lord at all times. Bless the Lord at all times. The Lord I will magnify. If he never give me out, I will lift his name on high. If he never give me out, he's already done enough. If I had 10,000 tons, I cannot repay him for the day he gave me his son. Covered all my mistakes, saved by amazing grace. Pulled me out the dying place, showed me the perfect case. Told me I can have it on this earth. First seeking space, no matter how much the space hurt. I still got my praise. Anybody ever been in a hurtful place? Anybody ever had to cry tonight? Anybody ever cried so much that you went into a praise? Anybody ever had to cry and you just had to thank God for what he allowed to happen? Knowing that God is still in control despite what you're going through? Come on, you gotta declare, I still got my praise. You can take a lot of stuff from me, but you can't take my praise. Yeah, dark nights turn into darker days. My price paid for some heartless ways. I can't be saved, but got led astray. Why is it if you pray, you become a prey? They drop me in this place to become a slave. Do dirt upon my name, hoping I will stay. But here I am today, cause of what he gave and I obeyed. Though this slave, baby, I still got my praise. I still got my praise. I still got my praise. Stop right there. I still got my praise. Come on, if you still got your praise, come on, put your hands together. Come on, I came to talk to some folks that been going through some stuff, but still know how to put their hands together and bless the Lord at all times. Come on, I say bless the Lord at all times, and his praise shall continually be in my mouth. Does anybody still have a praise? I came to talk to some folks that know what it's like to be lied on. Talk to some folks that know what it's like to be talked about. Talk to some folks that know what it's like to be counted out. Talk to some folks that know what it's like to be discounted on. I'm saying, But even in the midst of everything I'm going through, I still got my praise. I still got to thank you, Jesus. I still got to holler. Why? Because he woke me up this morning. Because he started me on my way. Come on. He gave me the activity of my limbs. Come on. I can still see good. I can still hear. I got a reason to give you praise. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to not just minister today, but minister to our young people. Can we celebrate God for the angels of this house? Come on, y'all can do better than that. Come on, the one that labors on your behalf while you sleep. The one that goes to God on your behalf while you ain't even worried about it. Thank God. Thank God for the angel of this house. And then I need y'all to give me a real big scream and shout for the youth department team for this amazing job that they've done this weekend. Come on, y'all can do better than that. They work hard. Powerhouse. Thank you, sir. All I did was say, I'm thinking we should do this. And my thought became this. And so I am grateful to have a team that can see. That can see even what I can't see, because sometimes I have a vision and I'm saying, okay, cool, I think this would be great if we do this, but then when you share it with the team and the team takes it and that thing manifests, I walked in yesterday, I was like, oh my God. Oh my God, so I am grateful for y'all. Thank y'all so much. And then last but not least, give yourselves a hand. Come on. For the young people that were here yesterday, we appreciate y'all. Come on, prayerfully, we made a deposit. All right, we're going to go to the book of Matthew.
Okay.
We'll go to the book of Matthew, the 5th chapter.
All right, now.
Matthew, the 5th chapter. Y'all, I might do something a little unorthodox. But I'm going to be in the Word. I'm be in the Word. Because the book of Matthew is so important, because Matthew is not only the first book of the New Testament, but Matthew ends the 400 drought of God speaking, 400-year drought of God speaking. So there's a 400 gap between the last book and the New Testament book. And for some of us, that does not mean anything until we have to go through a season where we can't hear God. Until you get to a place to where you know you're in a dark place and you need to hear God. Come on. When you're going through everything in the middle of your life, whether it be school, work, or just life at home, you need to hear a word from God. Can we all agree to that? And so we can celebrate the book of Matthew, because the book of Matthew reminds us that no matter how long it's been, God will speak.
Yes, He will.
I'm trying to encourage you right now, because some of us are going through some stuff to where we need a word from God. We need God to minister. We need God to speak. And we're looking at the clock saying, God, where are you? God, where? How long has it been? When are you going to speak? But can I tell you and encourage you that even if it's been X amount of time, come on, you fill in the blank. How long has it been since God last spoke to you? How long has it been since you got your last instruction? How long has it been since you felt His presence? But no matter how long it's been, God is reminding us that I will still speak. Come on, I have not yet forgotten about you. I understand where you are, and I know exactly how to get a word to you, because I will use somebody that's unlike you. Come on, when you understand who Matthew was a tax collector.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And so for my young people, what that means was Matthew was the middleman.
Yeah.
But what Matthews or the tax collectors were accused of, they were accused of adding tax to the tax. Come on, have you ever had the guy that got the hookup and say, man, I got the Jordans for 200, but then when you get to the middleman want 250? That was Matthew. When you say I can get you that new Gucci belt, I can get you that new Gucci, I can hook you up, my brother, I got you. But they ain't really got it, the other person got it, and then the person in the middle understands that because I'm in the middle, I got to make me a little something off of that. So I'm not mad at the hookup, I'm just mad mad because you added tax. You got it for 200, but you charged me 250. I'm really upset about that. I want the hookup that you got. I want it for your price. Because you told me you can get it. And so that was Matthew. So Matthew was not a beloved person in the body. Hear what I'm saying? Matthew was not well liked because of his position.
Come on.
And so you got to understand that sometimes, even in your position, some folks don't like you. I came to talk to the young people that you're not always going to be liked. You're not always going to be popular. You're not always going to be man's favorite. You're not always going to be man's choice. And sometimes we got to be real with ourselves and recognize that we don't even understand or we don't even deserve the favor from man because of some stuff that we done did. I know I wouldn't get no help right around that, but we don't want to admit that I was messy that time. I probably shouldn't have said that. I did lie about that. That was my fault. I did talk. I was in my emotions that day. I was in my flesh that day. So I said how I felt, and I said it openly, and you heard it now. You mad at me, but I'm mad at you for being mad at me because you heard me say what I should have said. I'm talking to the young people today. Because we in the middle of some stuff, and we mad at folks for not liking us for the character that we displayed. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Because what Matthew teaches us is, despite my past and despite the mistakes that I made, God still has a calling for my life. Come on, there's still purpose on my life. Despite my past, God can still use me. And the truth of the matter is, you might want to stay connected because I might be the end to your 400-year drought. I'm trying to talk to some young folks today. You have to understand that you might want to stay connected because I might be the one that God speaks through. You might just want to keep your ear just a little attentive to what I'm saying because God still has the ability to put a word in my mouth despite my past. So we understand and we can celebrate Matthew because it ends a 400 years. Y'all can sit down. Y'all can sit down. I told y'all to leave. I'm ready for see my coworker there.
All right now.
Listen.
Yes.
So we can understand that Matthew, the book of Matthew ends the drought of the word.
Yeah.
But then when God sends a word, he sends an unlikely vessel. He sends something that you would not have been looking for.
All right.
Because he could have started with Mark. He could have started with Luke. He could have started with John. But he started with Matthew. Because he knew that we would be in a place to where we don't really appreciate who God is using.
All right. That's right. That's right.
And we're looking at the past of the individual without focusing on the purpose of the individual.
Right.
Let me say that. I said we're looking at the past of an individual without yet focusing on the purpose of the individual. Because if we looked at my past would disqualify me.
I know you're right. Come on.
So Matthew does what no other book does, and he starts off going through the genealogy of Jesus. He goes through and he begins to list the bloodline of the great Messiah.
Come on.
Come on, the Savior, the risen King. And I believe that he does it because sometimes we got to see that everybody in our bloodline ain't always the same. Can I talk to some folks that can look back over their bloodline and realize that we all ain't been home? We all wasn't in church. Come on, some of us made some mistakes way long time ago. Come on, Big Mama made some mistakes. Big Mama's made some mistakes. But even in the midst of that, God can still take that bloodline and produce a Jesus. Y'all missed the revelation. Because if you look over your family tree, if you went to your family reunion, you realize that everybody around here may be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I may be hanging with a bunch of lions, tigers, and bears at my family reunion, but that don't mean that God still can't use me. That don't mean that God don't still have a purpose for my life. And so sometimes we'll get caught up looking at our bloodline and miss the fact that God want to use us.
That's right.
We get caught up in looking like, hey, there's no way that car can. I just be honest. That was me. That was me. My mother was in the church, you know, but I watched my father.
Yeah.
So as I watched my father was a real life street dude. Like a real life street dude, like the kind of street dude that where he don't take freeway because he know how to maneuver through the streets. So like a real life street dude. So when I got the call to preach, I didn't really understand how could God call me. Because I'm looking at my father.
Right. I know you're right.
When I began to sell drugs, I got that from my uncles.
You better
I got that from my male cousins.
come on.
My grandfather was in prison.
Talk about it.
My father went to prison.
All right.
And so sometimes I'm looking at how can God want to use me when my bloodline don't line up with what he's telling me. How can God have a calling and an anointing on my life when I can't look back along my family bloodline and not see what God want to do? Has anybody ever been there? Am I the only family with a bunch of apes and orangutans? Am I the only person with family that throwing their sets up every time you see them?
No, sir.
Come on.
No, sir.
What do you want to use me?
No, sir.
What do you want to use me? And so because he want to use me, I had to still submit to the calling. And so God is trying to remind us, or Elective is spinning this book to remind us that no matter what your bloodline look like, there is still purpose on your life. No matter what you've seen up until this point, you got to understand that God still called you.
Yes, he did.
And so it becomes personal. It becomes personal. And so we transition into this great man, Jesus, who still, watch this as I'm working my way up to chapter 5, Jesus still submits to order and becomes baptized.
Yes.
God in the flesh, but he submitted to order.
Wow.
God in the flesh, but he did what was necessary so he could walk wholeheartedly, watch this, unapologetically in his calling.
Yes, sir.
God in the flesh, but he submitted.
Yes.
And I know the word submission is almost like foul language nowadays. Especially when you talk to the young people, because they don't understand.
Yes.
But when you truly understand that the only way I can fully be who I am is to submit.
That's right.
So God, so Jesus gives us an example that says, even though I think myself to be equal with God, I will still submit to a whole process just so I can be everything that I was created to be.
Come on now. That's good.
So he does that because he don't want to do ministry bootleg. He don't want to be a bootleg preacher. And so we work our way to Matthew, this 5th chapter, where he begins to preach this great sermon on the mountain.
On the mountain.
And so he starts off with this sermon because his sermon is solely designed to shake some stuff up. The sermon is designed to make sure that you understand that it is no longer about religion, but the king. I'm sorry, that's not what he was trying to say. The sermon was designed to say that it's not about church, it's about I'm sorry, that's not exactly what he said.
All right, now, come on, help us.
But what he was trying to remind them was sometimes we get caught up in rules and miss the fact that it has to be a heart change. So we'll show up on a Tuesday and hear a good word, but our heart don't change. We'll show up on a Sunday and we'll hear a good word, but our heart don't change. We'll show up to an empowerment summit and hear all these speakers, all these teachers, but if it does not change our heart, then we have still missed the mark. And so he reminds you, watch this. Acts when on the day of Pentecost, the Bible says that as they preached, the Bible says that the word pricked their hearts. It didn't get to their mind, it didn't get to their emotion, but it hit their hearts. So much so that even in the Old Testament, David had to pen down, where have I hid in my heart that I may not sin against God? And so what Jesus is trying to remind the people is, I know you've been caught up in doctrine, I know you've been caught up in rules, I know you've been caught up in regulation, but what I'm trying to ask you for is your heart. I'm trying to make an impact on your heart. I'm trying to change some stuff in your heart, because if I can get this word to your heart, I'll change you. So he opens up with what we call the Beatitudes. Or what I like to call the attitude to be. Because if your attitude don't ever change, you can never be. That was giving me what y'all gave me credit for. I said if your attitude don't ever change, then you can never be. Because sometimes we go through some stuff and we can still give God a praise, but never change our attitude about it.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
We can go through some stuff and still be mad at God.
Oh my God.
Okay. We can go through some stuff and tell God thank you, and tell God I love you, but still be mad that he put you in. We can go through some stuff and tell God I trust you, and tell God I believe you, but then still be upset about the fact that he has you. Has anybody ever been there? Y'all know that? Well, we still find ourselves trying to figure it out. Why did I have to go that route? Only to realize that his ways are not our ways, his thoughts are not our thoughts. And so I learned that the hard way. I learned that the hard way when I found my father being sick. Because I would have never liked to hear the fact that they were rushing my father to the hospital on Father's Day. And he was this close to dying.
My God.
So much so, it's like real life. They deemed it a miracle. Because when they looked at him, when they ran his numbers, they realized it, and they said there was no way you should still be alive. They looked at my father and said, I have never been in a place where I've seen somebody come in the condition that you're in and still be walking, and still be talking, and still have the activity of your limbs. Now, my natural self said, God, why today?
Come on.
Because it's Father's Day.
Yeah. Oh God.
God, why today?
Yeah.
This the day I'm supposed to love on him.
Come on.
This the day I'm supposed to let him know I appreciate him. I understand that he ain't going to be up all the time, but please don't take him on Father's Day.
Father's Day.
So my natural mindset was, I was upset.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I was hurt behind it. But watch this. He had to go that way, but it was on purpose.
Oh my God.
Because it was in that place that they realized that his last doctor had prescribed him the wrong medicine. And because they prescribed him the wrong medicine, he was able to find the new doctor to get everything under control. So not only do you need new medicine, but you need a new diet plan. Something that the old doctor wasn't doing. And so when I say his ways are not our ways, we get upset about the way that God do. But God had to tell me, he said, son, I was saving his life. You was upset. You didn't understand. But I had purpose on his life. And so I had to send him that route just to save his life. But if my attitude would have never changed, I'd still be stuck in that place.
Come on here.
If my attitude would have never changed, I'd still be in the place where I can't stand today, because I'm still trying to figure out why God would do what he did.
Jesus.
But he's alive and he's healthy. Come on, let's celebrate God. And so we're in Matthew 5. My text, verse number 13, where he says, you are the salt of the earth.
Yeah.
You are the salt of the earth.
Yeah.
And I had to look at it because I'm like salt of the earth. Didn't really make a lot of sense to me, even though I know the ability of salt. But when I did my research, I realized that at that day and time, salt was a priceless commodity. Come on, the historians will say that Roman soldiers were paid their wages in salt. And so what God was reminding the people is, despite what you look like, despite what you've been through, there is still value in your life. And if I be honest with you, the value is priceless. I said, if I be honest with you, the value is priceless. And so when he calls them salt, he reminded them that once you come to me, there's some stuff that I got to change. I've got to restore the value that you lost when you was gone. Come on. That's why it says, if any man be in Christ, he is a new. Come on. Old things. Because I've got to bring the value back to who you are. So then I was like, that's good. So it's priceless. But then he says, look at salt, because salt also has to be processed.
Right.
And there's only two ways that you get salt. One is from the bottom of the water. And they'll say that you have to bring it up. But then you gotta let the sun hit it so you can let the salt remain. And if anybody knows anything about being at the bottom, I'm talking about so low where can't nobody else find you. I'm talking so low with your head hanging down, so low in depression, so low in pain, so low in unforgiveness. But sometimes the sun.
Hey, that's right.
But when the sun hit it and it leaves,
Oh, God.
come on, something that's purposeful. When the sun hit it and he leaves purpose. When the sun hit it and he leaves destiny. When the sun hit it and he processes you just so you can become everything that you were created to be. I need to talk to someone who knows what it's like to be at the bottom. I'm talking about, I done been low. I done been low. I done been baritone low. I done been low.
You let the sun hit. Come on.
When the sun hit it. When the sun put his hand on my life, when the sun pulled me out the fire, when the sun got me off the street, when the sun took me out the trap house, when the sun changed my life, he said there's still purpose, there's still destiny. I know where you've been, and I found you at the bottom, and I pulled you out just so I can use you. Come on. Watch this. It come from the bottom, Erica. And if it didn't come from the bottom, it came from a rock. That means it came from a hard place. Y'all missed the rep. I said you didn't come from the bottom, you came from a hard place. Come on, I grew up hard. I grew up gangster. I grew up pulling my pistol. I grew up shoot. But sometimes I had to understand God had to pull me out of that place. Do I have any redeemed believers in here today? Do I have anybody in here with a past today? Listen, I know I look like this, but you don't know where I came from. I know I look like this, but you don't know my story. I know I look like this, but you don't know what I used to do. Come on, he either pulled you from the bottom or he pulled you from a hard place. He pulled you from a hard place. But he pulled you. That's what they miss. I say, but he pulled you. But he got you. But he touched you. But he saved you. But he delivered you. But he redeemed you. Can we celebrate again, God? That was a praise break right there. That was a praise break. You want to put your hands together and give God some glory for the fact that he can look low and still pull you out. You want to give God some glory that he can find you in a hard place and still put destiny in your life.
I mean, the picture.
So he chose salt because salt is priceless. But salt has been processed. And sometimes we don't like the process. But it's got to be. And some of y'all being processed for some great stuff right now. And I get it, that might be why you can't celebrate. pray. Because if you're in a hard place right now, you want to have a praise on your lips. If you're in a hard place right now, you want to give God a glory. Hallelujah. Because he's been blessing on your life.
You must say that. Way down there.
Watch this.
You own it. You own it.
Was priceless. It was a process just so we could produce. Just so we can produce. Because I need you. Honey, can we talk about what salt does? What salt does, salt has the ability to preserve life. So when I put salt, I want to end the decaying. And I believe that we're in a dying world right now. I believe that we're in some dying times right now. But yet I can just be the salt of the earth. I just believe I can save a life or two. If I could be if I could be the salt of the earth, I believe I can extend life to somebody else. If I can be the salt of the earth, I believe I can put the end to a dying world. Watch this. Watch this. So I got to produce.
Yes, sir.
I got to produce in this hour. And I know I might still be in a hard place, but I still got to produce. Because I'm the salt of the earth. Come on. He said the salt of the earth. So salt produces, it gives flavor. But then salt adds flavor.
Come on, sir.
Salt adds flavor. And what salt does, salt is so good. It reminds us that it's flavor in what's going on right now. Salt says, when I'm the salt of the earth, Erica, I don't look like what everybody else looks like. I don't have the same type of conversations. And I believe that we're in a time and an hour where people need to understand that every young black man ain't selling dope right now. Come on. Every young black woman ain't on the video twerking. I can't get her. Everybody ain't strung out on the drugs. Everybody ain't stealing. Everybody ain't killing. Everybody ain't robbing. Come on. We still have some young, I can't get no young people.
Thank you, Jesus. Amen.
So you got to listen, because we got to remind them that the narrative of what they think about our young black man has really changed. Come on, what you believed about me last year ain't what it is this year. What you found me doing 2 years ago, I ain't doing no more. I am now the salt of the earth. I'm adding flavor to what's going on right now. So, salt was priceless. Salt was processed just so it could produce. It says, but if you ever lose your savor. Watch this. It messed me up. But savor in the original language means to return to being stupid. It means to return to being silly. So this is I can say this is Jesus. What y'all looking at? I told y'all I was going to serve them out. This is preaching. Like excuse me. That's what the word say. This is Jesus talking. He says, you're the salt of the earth. You priceless. I processed you. I want you to add flavor. I want you to produce something. But if you ever go back to being silly or stupid,
Help us.
come on. If you ever do, who can give you your flavor back again?
Wow, that's a good.
If you ever get to a place to where you start off doing right, but then you find yourself going backwards.
Yeah.
If you ever get to a point to where you find yourself when you then lined up with God, but yet you missed the mark.
I know that's good.
Who can give you your flavor back again? But he reminds you, because he doesn't answer the question, but he reminds you of the consequences of being in that place. Come on, he's trying to set up a parameter. He lets you know that narrow is the path, so you got to walk a straight, narrow line. He reminds you that even in that place, I got to make sure you understand how damaging it is to your life. Watch this, not just to your life, but to those who you are supposed to be salty for. Come on. Because, see, I don't know about y'all, but that's really how God deal with me. That's really how God, when God began to deal with me about a calling, and when God began to deal with me about doing the work, he didn't really deal with me about the work per se. He dealt with me about the consequences of not doing the work. When I was called, I began to think about how many sermons I didn't preach if I didn't answer. How many people wouldn't hear the word? If I didn't line up, how many people could I not touch? And that's just how God dealt with me. He began to show me the people that needed to be encouraged. And so even when I tried to run from it, I still found myself doing that. That's really how he did it. Like so, I was like, man, you know what? I ain't encouraging nobody today. And somebody said, man, can you pray for me? God, I'm like, love that. Like I said, I ain't doing it. And then somebody else would come and say, man, you know, I just need to hear something. And just give me something. I'm like, wow. So he had to remind me that there are still people that he said, even though you don't feel like it, I still need to be something. Because if you go back to being silly, there's people that if you go back to being silly, then there's people that's going to die. They're going to miss the flavor that you are designed to bring to this earth. Watch this. He said that when they do that, they become trampled under the feet. Now watch this. What I've learned is, and I'm done. What I've learned is, when I do not fully walk, Erica, and where I'm supposed to be, people will treat me any kind of way.
My God. Come on now, you're on it. That's a good one.
When I don't fully be what I'm supposed to be, I find myself being trampled.
Talk about it.
I chose not to be who I was created to be. And so sometimes we mad at folks for not giving us the level of respect that we deserve. But if you took a look on the inside, we would have to stand up and say, you know what? I haven't been who I should be.
That's right.
That part.
We're supposed to be. If we took time to truly examine, you know, take your emotions out, you ain't being silly or nothing like that, but you can really stand up and say, you know what, I haven't been the best.
That's right.
I haven't done my best. I know they giving me a hard time, but if I be honest with myself, I can do more.
That's right.
They telling me they're not really feeling me and everything else, but if I be honest, I didn't really put my best foot forward.
That's right. That's real. Yes, it is.
And so Jesus, watch this. Instead of reminding the believers that I have redeeming power, that I have restoring power, that I have resurrecting power, instead of reminding them that I'm married to the backslider.
Come on.
Even though you may mess up.
Come on. Help us. You on it.
If you don't, or if you do go back, then expect people to not treat you how you
used to be
supposed to be
That's
treated.
right.
I need to show you the realities of not being who you are created to be, so you can understand this is a straight and narrow path that you got to walk.
That's right.
And so we got to find ourselves in the place that we are committed to being the salt.
Yes.
And so if I had to tag my text today, I would ask, who's salty?
Come on, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Who's salty?
Who is so? My God.
Because the truth of the matter is, if you're in purpose or if you're not in purpose, somebody is salty. Somebody gonna be salty. Somebody's salty.
Yes, sir.
If you're walking in purpose, they salty because you're walking in purpose. If you're walking in purpose, you salty because you walk. But even more, somebody gonna be salty. So the question is, who's salty? Who's salty? Who's salty? Come on. I got a couple of points. I don't even normally do this. But I said since I got the young people here today, let me give you a couple of points
Yes, sir.
to remain salty.
All right.
Yeah. Amen. Number one. Never forget who you are.
That's right.
Never forget who you are. If I can be honest, life will throw you multiple curveballs. Life will deliver multiple hard blows. You will have some hard stops. You will have some pit stops. You will have some moments where you will cry. You will have some moments that you will laugh until you cry. You will have some wins. You will have some losses. You will have some victories. You will have some dubs. But you're going to take some L's as well. But you got to understand that no matter how high you get, you cannot forget who you are. If you want to remain salty, don't forget
Who you are.
who you are. Number two. Never forget who you belong to.
That's good.
Never forget who you belong to. When you understand who you belong to, you understand that you are a representative of the person that you belong to. Come on. You learn it at home. Your parents were trying to teach you. It's the same principle that God teaches us. He says, hey, you belong to me. When you are, I need you to rep me real good. That's what your parents told you. Hey, you belong to me. When you go to school, don't shame me. Don't embarrass me. Don't have to praise me. Don't act like I ain't raising you right. But when you get out there, you got to understand who you belong to. When I show up, I need to look in the home. You are? Okay, that's your child. Or either they can look at you like, oh.
Right,
That's your child.
That's your time. Come on.
I've been on both sides of the coin. But you got to never forget who you belong to. You got to never forget who you belong to, because there is a greater responsibility when you belong to the one who has deemed you salty. There is a greater responsibility when you belong to the one who has pulled you from the bottom, pulled you out of a hard place, who has changed your life.
Yes. Come on now.
Amen.
Help us.
Amen. Number three. Never forget why you are here. Never forget why you're here. There is purpose, there is destiny. If you can keep that at the forefront of your mind, it will keep you focused. Talking to young people, when there's purpose, there's destiny on your life. If you keep that on the forefront of your mind, it will keep you focused. When you know why you're here, you'll find yourself doing things that make no sense to other people around you. But if you understand it is about your purpose, your destiny, then you will stay focused and you will be committed to doing what you are created to do. I love it. My daughter, who's in PV to be a nurse. She's in PV to be a nurse when she was in high school. From the time she was, I want to say maybe middle school, she knew she wanted to be a nurse. I didn't understand it, but that's what she wanted to be. But in high school, she began to do different things that would set her up to get into nursing school. So she never lost focus and she stayed on the track. When everybody else was going out and partying, when there was all these games going on, she was going to the hospital to serve, because I need to build a track record that says I'm on point to be what I am created to be. I am created to serve. I am created to be a nurse. And because that is what I want to do with my life, God has aligned it up, and so I can walk forward and not miss the mark in that area. So when you never forget who you are and why you are here, what you are created to do, it will help you keep purpose in the forefront of your mind, which will keep you focused.
Yes, sir.
Point number four. Surround yourself with salty people.
All right now.
We talked about it. We talked about it yesterday. The text came up, Elder Bujo, that bad company corrupts good character.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
If bad company corrupts good character, what does good company do?
Yes, yes, it does.
Good company has to enhance the good character, right? If I'm around people who are committed to doing the same thing, if I'm around people who are living on purpose, then it would keep me focused on living on purpose. It would keep me focused in doing what I am created to do. I love Kenton. I talk to Kenton all the time, and I love Kenton. If you don't mind if I use you, Kenton, but you don't mind. Okay. I talk to Kenton all the time, and I love Kenton because he's an athlete. But when you find him, he's hanging around other athletes, and he'll say, "Hey, man, it's some stuff that we just don't do because we focus on athletics. I'm focused on being the best football player that I can be, but it's because I have surrounded myself by people who are not going back to being silly." Come on, here's a freebie. Here's a freebie. Sign your name on paper. Here's a freebie. Get you a mentor who is salty. Get you a mentor who is salty. You need a mentor. You need somebody you can confide in. You need a mentor. You need somebody who can hear everything that you're going through and be salty when you are not being salty.
Wow.
I love my bishop. I love my pastor. I'm looking this way. I love my spiritual mother.
Yeah.
But when I don't want to be salty, I know not to call her.
Oh, God.
She gonna be salty that I'm not salty.
All right.
But watch this. God is so good, because she'll call me. Pastor.
Okay.
But I'm saying this, I'm saying it joking, but I'm saying you need somebody that's going to hold you accountable.
That's
That's
right.
right.
You need somebody who has already been where you are going. You need somebody that is committed to making sure that you become your best.
That's
Come on,
right.
sir.
Amen.
Come on, and I believe every elder, at least the elders in here, Lord have mercy,
My God.
can attest that you can't bring anything small to it, because you bring a this, and then when you leave, it's this big.
Wow.
But I love it because it stretches me. It keeps me on track. It keeps me thinking. It keeps me becoming more, and it keeps me striving for being better. So I want to say to the young people, if you have not yet done so, get you a salty mentor.
Oh, wow.
Get you a salty mentor. You need somebody that's going to be upset with you not being your best.
Come
Oh,
on.
wow.
Come on.
That's good. Good, Pastor.
Caleb, you made A's and B's, I'm upset. Should be all A's.
Oh, my.
You that smart.